one.
Hello everybody, Reaper X1 here again, back in Terra Tech 0.6.0.4 in the R&D this time, or second time I believe. Working on the base I had in progress in the last couple updates. Got to thinking that maybe I should have type of a garage area, so that's what I'm just working on now, closing in the main part of the base to set up for my parking lot. Not too sure how big the techs are going to be that are going to come to this thing, so I want to give it some room. Who knows, I might only hold one. Yeah, that SCU and the R&D is handy. Keeps things clean. One thing I did notice here is I think I'm going to have to go and do some little touches. Those megatons right next to that wall are just going to blow the snot out of that wall probably. I might have to go and double check that, make sure it ain't going to backfire on me and end up destroying my whole base. Well, not the whole base, but the whole garage maybe. Well, maybe that'd be a thing to do too. If it does damage itself, just keep firing and see what happens. But anyway, I gotta work on some defenses all the way around it first, so figure out, get her set up and figure out what I want to do with them. Getting them out and away from everything important is probably the best idea. Yeah, just kind of figuring it out as I go. See what I want it to look like, and or what might look good. And sometimes I have to skip to another part, get that done, and then I'll go back and change whatever, just tweak it kind of thing. Could be the artiste in me that keeps me going back and forth from one thing to another, changing it here and there. Curiosity too, I like to see how different things will look. And you can imagine it, but to see it in real life is the best. And I do like these lasers. Nice thing with them is they're effective and they're kind of cool looking when you line them all up like that. Might have to do a picture with some of them. I just like how they pick apart the enemy techs, how far they shoot, how accurate they are. These little drills I've kind of come to like too. I wish the bigger drills were straight out from their mounting the base. I think that'd be pretty cool. Make them easier to use. Might not look as cool though. So I'm thinking by the time this base is done, I want to put it in the most densely forested and mineral rich area I can, and fire these lasers with about 5 or 6 little minion helpers to run around and collect resources. I think that'd look cool, them all scurrying around bringing it back. I don't know if the grasslands would be the best for that. You get a lot of wood. Stuff to try. I got a few ideas that I've been cooking up for bases and that, and how to use them in the main game to make them like self-sufficient, never have to go back to them, and they still make you money. But with the AI the way it is, it's not as easy as making minions. So what I've been thinking and trying here and there is to figure out how to have resources, when they pop up, they're destroyed immediately and collected. So it's like on the setup, really. The right placement. I had it working fairly good in R&D here with a tech that I just kind of parked there. As far as a base, I don't know if the game will read it as the same and avoid spawning resources there, or I was thinking of just having conveyor lines stretched out, and wherever there's like a cluster of something gonna most likely grow, just have a couple drills. It breaks up, collects up, comes all the way back to the base. Something I've been thinking about, pondering since I've been working on this, and I haven't got to it because I wanted to finish this, and I got another project in the works too, a big upgrade for one of my previous monsters. Kind of a little bit of hype on that, I guess. It should be pretty sweet if it works. It'll be my biggest build or multi-tech yet. Maybe the coolest too. I'm not too sure though, but we'll see. It'll take a bit though. Get working in them sizes, things get real slow. Real slow. So I decided to kind of go with those lasers again here, even on the down facing, just to save on, or to gain some height clearance. I'm not too sure how big some of the techs might be that come here. Sometimes I build a little taller. Sometimes I build taller than even this might handle, so I might have to redo this part when I get it into the game. Build it, customize it to suit when the time comes. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to put them there. Good old megatons. Can't go wrong with them. Most bang for the buck right now. One thing that would be kind of cool is if they would fire faster. Like if you had an upgrade block, rate of fire upgrade or something. If you could get them to fire even 1.5 to 2 times faster, they would definitely be a force to be reckoned with. They'd just chip away at anything and do it quickly. No matter how many shields. And so I've fought against a few techs when they're well shielded and it's planned right. They're doing like I got here, the bubbles out as far as possible. It can take quite a while depending on their batteries, even with these big megatons. Which is worth it because it makes for a good battle. I'm more thinking of an extra incentive to get out there and look and find these odd rare blocks and add new blocks. And so I know right now they're doing a lot of improvements on how the game actually runs, and they haven't really had too much time to get into like new blocks and stuff like that just yet. They're replacing the crafting system, which is probably a way bigger job than most of us can imagine. I know it's probably bigger than I'm thinking. So until then, I figure if we just keep putting in our suggestions and hoping it sounds good to them, and or maybe something they've actually wanted to do already, will make this game even better than it already is. I've seen a lot of games that are not even in the same class as Terra Tech, and they've, I don't know how, got popular. For some reason, I don't know. Because for me, Minecraft's that situation. I don't understand. Well, I get the creativity behind it, keeping it going, but as far as the visual look of it, that's what keeps me from playing it. I'm not into that. Closest thing I'd play is maybe that Lego Worlds. I've seen that a few times. It looks kind of cool. And Minecraft for me is like going back to my childhood, and I'm not gonna play that if I don't really have to. Nintendo was cool at the time, but it's nothing now. So as I'm kind of getting the entrance to my garage fortified and protected and closed in the best that it can be, gotta start looking around for what I'm gonna do next. I was kind of thinking of some kind of details to this, but figured I better put these on before I get ahead of myself. I'd hate to build something really cool and have the defenses get in the way, and then I gotta tear something apart. And would not be the first time that has happened, though. I actually lost about 2 hours worth of work one time because I did a boo-boo like that. Had something one space too close, wouldn't allow for the detail I wanted in behind the guns. I was writing stuff that day. Yeah, I figure a good save might be an idea. This is just for a little fun. This is one of the vehicles I made for Gauntlet. It works pretty good in Gauntlet. It actually got me under 2-minute run in that. But I figure this is a good scout car too, as long as you don't get hit by nothing. Thing blows up. But it flies nice. You can hit a small jump and you can actually fly for a little while until your fuel runs out. The boosters keep it going. But as I mentioned, writing something there earlier, I figured, I guess a sign might be nice. Because I know they do intend and want multiplayer, and depending how multiplayer is, maybe you could have allies. Maybe it'd be good to let your allies know what part of your base to go to if they want to drop off resources. Maybe they're going to be able to sell them to us. So once again, just options. The little touches that I think make things extra nice. Gotta double check, make sure it's big enough. Now the fun part. 101 brackets. I don't know if you noticed, but when I go to place a block, like the angled ones, that it wants to connect itself right to the black blocks, if it can. See, like right there at the bottom, it wanted to there. And I found a lot of the time I was having to hit Alt to reset, so the blocks would line up to the attach points right. But yeah, a lot of those times where those angle blocks are pointing themselves into the black, that's just the game doing it on its own. It's just auto-locating the closest attach point that's available, I guess. It's kind of a pain in the ass, especially when the game really starts to lag, which it's kind of starting here. You might not be able to tell, but I sped it up and done some editing, but it's kind of throws you off on the bigger, laggier builds. You end up having to double move blocks that you wouldn't normally have to, but it can be fixed by just building out one more space away, but if you have the room. I just didn't want to do that. Wanted to keep it back behind the guns. So I figured this would be a pretty good way to tell people, here's my refinery, if you'd like to use it, come on in, drop off your wares. See, sometimes it is handy, sometimes it just doesn't do it for me though. Oh, I got my first sign done. I gotta think maybe the garage might need a little better advertising. or I don't know what a better word for that would be exactly, but yeah, this one I wasn't really too sure what I wanted to print, so I just kind of farted around with it, thinking about things. At one point I was thinking of putting a question on there just because maybe it'd be like an intimidation factor, but then that defeats the purpose of having this set up where allies could join and kind of help in with the cause, make interaction a little more fun in the game. So instead I was going to put, "Are you sure?" Just see if people would question themselves, enemies. But then yeah, I don't want to drive away potential allies if multiplayer becomes a thing, and I can still use this base. So there's a couple other ideas I had. I was going to put maybe rest stop, but then I hear horrible things about places that are called rest stops, so I didn't really want to put that on. Parking kind of just sounded too easy, too unoriginal, and it was too short really. I didn't want to have the sign any shorter. But I kinda thought maybe it'd be a good idea to keep it simple. Just don't have to be super creative on everything. So I decided to write parking. So yeah, if anyone's had trouble figuring out how to do letters and wanted to do letters, after watching this video you should have a pretty good handle on it. Most of it is just messing around with them. I've done a few different texts that use split words, so I've gotten some experience at it now. I actually made a text for the community core one time that had all the letters of the alphabet worked into a, I think it's called a pangram, a sentence that has every letter used at least once, like, well, for the English language, the English alphabet. I forget what the sentence was though. It was something kind of funny, something about wizards leaping or so. Yeah, that K was kind of the trickier one of all the ones I had to do so far. Just because I was planning on using the 3 spaces wide instead of just 2. Put a little monkey wrench in my spacing. Now, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but I would really like to see them green words for my filters not be an issue anymore. So if any developers happen to be watching, please, can they disappear when I don't have my mouse over them? I know it's important to know what's in them, but we don't need to know what it's set for all the time. And one more little request, the little pop-up things that always come up, you can't place blocks or click through them, which makes them a real pain in the butt when they show up as much as they do. Like in the R&D especially, can we just not have them in the R&D unless there's like a major thing like overloaded wheels and stuff like that? Because ones that just tell me what block it is, that's not really that great. I know what they are, I'm using them. I figure it's more for younger players and newer players, and But maybe just have an option to turn that off or something and kind of go from there. So I was taking a little look around, figured I better add in some regenerators here, or health regenerators. Health regenerators, where the hell does that come from? Repair bubbles. That's, yeah. We'll just say it like that. So I'll get this sucker covered so it's protected, and swap out some of them shields for the venture shields. I kind of think I need some more batteries somewhere, but I'm not too sure where I want to put them just yet. Not exactly 100% on where this base might end up with its crafting abilities. So I don't want to limit myself yet, but I do need to wrap this little corner up, get it better protected. Be really crappy if I forget that and then it gets blown up because of no guns there. The whole base is lost because of it. I think I'd be a little bit peeved off. A little misfire there, or accidental fire. That alt button's real close to the space bar, you know. But as you can imagine, this looks slow, or little slow right now. This is actually sped up. So this block placing is probably 2 or 3 times faster than it normally was when I was doing it. So it's starting to really wear on it. I think it's just though a lot of it is the way the attach points show up when you're going to place a block, because they always seem to start from one side, or like from one direction to the next, to the other side, and side being last, well, it's going to take a buttload of time to actually give you the option. And I think that was the case there mainly, because I was on the bad side. And so I had decided also to switch this around to accommodate some crafting options. Now I got even more filters, even more of those little green words to look around, but it will be handy. If I can have all the alloys pop out, go to a spot, and they'll be set for when they can be used for crafting. And then I can also set this base to do others. I can have just refine and then ship them out. I could actually do that right off of there. Some of those switching conveyor, alternating conveyors would be cool. Oh, another little drive. Gotta have some fun while you're messing around with this. So I went out and I grabbed up a whole bunch of resources. I decided not to bore you with that. Even if it was going to be sped up, it still takes a little bit. So I'm just kind of letting her fill up and making sure things stay moving. I know at one time I had one of the conveyor lines not switched the right direction, and it all just filled up and got bunged up, and then it wouldn't. It took me a little while to get that figured out, find where it was, and I don't want to have that happen if I buy this and bring it into the game, and who knows, it ends up losing power because of an attack at night. And it does have generators, so it can power itself, only if it has resources in there though, and they all go through silos, so it can build up a supply. But it doesn't do too bad though. I might, for this to full load that I brought in, with the receivers and everything full, I probably needed a couple more receivers on the base to handle it quickly. So I think maybe 4 or 5 more receivers on the base would have emptied this guy out and had it all picked up real fast. But it looks like things are moving good. I'm getting my Oleus stocked up there for charging. That's a big one. That really does it. Another suggestion that I just kind of thought up today was for the generators to not charge or not to burn fuel all the time. And a way of doing this would be to maybe have like a timer on the filter, so you could have like an automated timer, so at dark it turns on, it allows your Oleus to run through and be charged, or to be burnt for charging your batteries. Same with any of the other combustible resources. So that's another suggestion, an idea that I gotta remember to write down or post on the forums. So I think that's a good one. But yeah, these two guys, they fit in there quite nice. And well, off for another little bit of it. Not so good of a drive this time. That lag really kind of messes it up when you're trying to do precision driving. So after a little bit of extra steering, we got this little guy back to base, parked at home. So until next time, everybody, have a good one. Bye.